This is the part where you say, "What's going on, YouTube?"
What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning in today. If you guys remember last week's video, we did basically a check over on this Jetta. A buddy of mine just bought it, so he wanted us to go through it, see what all it needs and what's going on with it, because he had a few issues and some other stuff he didn't know about. If you didn't watch that video, we'll post the link up here somewhere. Go watch that video first. And now in this video, we got the repairs authorized. We got some of the parts. We're waiting on a couple other parts, but we're going to be doing a coolant flush and then refilling this back up with the appropriate Volkswagen coolant. We're going to adjust the shift linkage on the 6-speed O2M and the GLI, so that might be something you guys are interested in. We have 2 clutch position sensors to replace. We have a transmission mount to replace. I think a tag light bulb to replace, which isn't really a big deal. Anything else, Brandy?
My list is over there.
I should have just grabbed the list.
Yeah.
Check engine light P0704, faulty clutch switch, transmission mount, radiator flush, adjust shift linkage. Oh, obviously the main reason it's here. It's only boosting 8 pounds right now, which is spring pressure. Somebody completely just deleted the N75 and then plugged it in and left it lay in the engine bay. So for those of you that know what this is, you understand why it only boosts 8 pounds. If you don't understand what this is, without getting too into depth, the turbo wastegate spring pressure is 8 pounds. So without any kind of other feedback, the turbo will only boost 8 pounds, like if your car goes into limp mode or whatever. This is set up with some different vacuum lines and a solenoid to control the pressure going to the wastegate actuator, and that lets the ECU adjust the boost from 8 psi all the way up to whatever you have it set for in the tune. I think stock is like 12 or 14 pounds. This thing's tuned, it should make around 21, 22 psi. Supposedly it's tuned, we don't know for sure. But if you guys are interested in seeing any of that stuff, stay tuned. Keep watching and we'll get cracking here. We're going to get things started with the coolant flush. I bought some radiator cleaner flush that I want to run through it, and I like to keep it in the system for a little bit while we're fixing the N75 and driving the car and stuff. I want that cleaner to really work through the cooling system because somebody put stop leak in it before, and I want to make sure as much of that stuff is out of there as possible. We have our drain pan here. We also have the coolant expansion tank up here. We're going to want to remove the cap off of that. That will allow our coolant to drain faster. And then if we come down here and I find my light, generally on the driver's side of most vehicles, you take a look under here. Maybe I can get under here. Ow, fuck. Okay, so if the fucking bumper's mounted securely on the car and you don't fucking let it attack you and bust you in the fucking lip and then you move your head back and smack it on the pavement because you're used to working on a fucking lift, you'll want to follow the lower rod hose over here and you'll see this drain valve right here. You're just going to twist this open and your coolant's going to drain.
Hopefully into the pan and not on the GoPro.
Probably all over everything but the pan.
We have spottage on the GoPro. It looks cool though. It's like if you don't want to see somebody and who they are or where they're working, it's like a blur.
So they had the right kind of coolant in, but you can see all these little copper specks. They must have just put this shit in here. So I'm hoping this thing didn't have a bigger issue that they were trying to hide.
Yes.
Well, that's gonna run for it.
In the hole.
We ran a few gallons of water through there just to get as much coolant out as we could. much of that other stuff. We're gonna close that. You probably couldn't hear me because I was talking to the bumper. We're gonna fill this completely up with water now. Let it run till it gets heat and up to temp. The thermostat opens. Circulate some more water through there. Drain it one more time. And then we'll put the radiator cleaner flush stuff in it and the water, and we'll leave that in until we're finished working on this. And then once we're finished working on it, we'll completely drain that and fill it back up with VW coolant. So anytime you guys are filling up a cooling system, you always want to start the car up, turn the heat on full blast. That way the coolant will cycle through the heater core. It's also important to make sure you have the car jacked up, either on level ground or jacked up level. If anything, maybe have a little bit, sorry, I can't move this fucking seat. There we go. Somebody had it in the steering wheel.
I am short.
Yeah, but you're not that much shorter than me.
I'm short. I have little legs.
Anyway, keep the car level. If anything, have the front end raised just slightly so your cooling expansion tank or radiator is higher than the rest of the system. It will help you get all the air bubbles out. You don't put head gasket restore in your cooling systems. Alright, as you can see, we are up to temp 190. The good news is we have some heat. It's not the hottest heat that I ever felt, but that means we're getting some flow in the heater core, so this shit didn't completely clog it up. Hopefully it's not too late and we can save this thing. I'm gonna drain this one more time. It's probably nice and hot now. Still getting tons of that copper stuff out. But even though we filled it with water, there was still a lot of coolant circulating through the block behind the thermostat. So this is why we ran it with some water in to drain it again. I'm a little bit lost as to why somebody even put this stuff in here, because the timing belt and water pump were just done at 190. And this stuff was definitely like just put in. It's not like the water pump was going bad and they put this in to maybe try and fix it and then it didn't work and they did the water pump. Like, this stuff was literally just put in the car. It's still, there's so much of it floating around the cooling system, so it kind of has me wondering what somebody was thinking. But then again, somebody unplugged the N75 or unhooked the N75 with it plugged in and just left it lay in the engine bay. So this is why you really got to check cars out before you buy them, because a lot of people have no clue what they're doing. Like, I mean, whoever worked on this car, I'm not sure what was going on, but this car looks clean from the outside. You pop the hood and look at this stuff and it's like, what the hell happened here? Here's our radiator flush stuff. This stuff is okay. This isn't to seal anything up or do anything like that. It's just a cleaner to clean all the gunk and shit out of the system. So we're gonna go ahead, we closed the drain valve, petcock valve as they call it. We're gonna dump this stuff in here. Then we're gonna top it off with water, let the car run. But it's acting like it's overheating. Alright, shut it off. Shut it off. If you guys suspect that you have a blown head gasket, one way to test if you believe you're getting compression in the cooling system is you can buy one of these universal combustion leak tester kits. They usually are found at Napa, AutoZone, all your normal parts stores, and they basically consist of this test tube here, an aspirator, and the fluid. And this fluid, you can see, is blue. We're going to put a little bit of this fluid in that test tube. Once the car is running, we're going to put that test tube over top of our coolant bubble, making sure that the engine's running warm, whatever. And if this fluid changes color, usually yellow to indicate combustion gases from gasoline or green from diesel, then we know that there's combustion gas getting into the cooling system. Okay, we're up to temperature now. I'm going to go ahead and take our test tube here, fill it up with the blue stuff. To the line. Okay, so just as I see no bubbles and the combustion leak tester is not showing any signs of combustion, and I'm getting ready to top it off with coolant and go drive it, this thing just starts fucking bubbling away again. So let's try the leak test again.